Carl Jung once observed, "What comes easily also leaves easily," a statement that resonates deeply with the rhythms of life and the heart. In our daily lives, we are often drawn to things that demand little effort, friendships that require no understanding, pleasures that offer instant gratification, achievements that seem effortless. They shine brightly, and yet like a candle in the wind, they fade just as quickly. The mind longs for ease, but the soul learns through endurance, through labor, through patience. True growth is rarely comfortable. It is carved by challenges and softened by reflection. The relationships that sustain us are nurtured, not stumbled upon. The skills we carry into later years are honed through persistence, not fleeting curiosity. Even joy, when sought only in ease, can feel hollow and transient. Jung reminds us that what truly matters, the love that endures, the wisdom that deepens, the self we come to know, requires the willingness to walk the sometimes difficult path. There is a sacredness in effort, a quiet dignity in perseverance. When we embrace the slow unfolding of life, we discover that the treasures which stay are not those handed to us effortlessly, but those we've earned, tended, and cherished. It is in this gentle labor that the soul feels grounded, secure, and fully alive. The truth lingers softly. That which slips away with little effort cannot touch us deeply, and that which stays, though it may ask much, becomes part of the very fabric of who we are. Dear everyone, before we continue the program, if you enjoy this topic, please comment number 1. If you'd like me to create more similar content, comment number 2. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any useful videos. Thank you, and wish you all meaningful moments. Have you ever noticed how some moments, relationships, or achievements in life feel effortless at first, yet vanish just as quickly as they appeared? Perhaps it was a friendship that seemed natural and full of laughter, only to drift away without explanation. Or a sudden success, bright and intoxicating, that left you yearning for more, but ultimately slipped through your fingers. Why does life sometimes give us so easily, only to take it away just as fast? Carl Jung, the great psychologist and explorer of the unconscious, offers a profound insight. What comes easily also leaves easily. This observation is not merely about the fleeting nature of fortune or circumstance. It speaks to the deeper currents of our soul, to the way human experience is shaped by effort, intention, and inner growth. Jung understood that the psyche craves depth, authenticity, and meaning. The things we acquire without effort often fail to touch our core because they bypass the journey of the self. Life, in its quiet wisdom, seems to teach us that the most lasting treasures are never handed to us on a silver platter. They are forged through patience, endurance, and conscious engagement with our inner and outer worlds. Think of it this way. A plant that grows overnight may look beautiful for a moment, but without strong roots, it withers under the first wind. Similarly, the joys and achievements that require little of our energy may glitter brightly, yet they seldom sustain us through life's inevitable storms. Jung invites us to reflect on the distinction between surface experiences and those that nourish the soul. He suggests that true fulfillment is inseparable from the process of earning, understanding, and integrating what life offers. In this exploration, we are not simply talking about effort as a mechanical action or duty. We are speaking of effort as a sacred engagement with life, an inner discipline that aligns with our authentic being. When we invest time, reflection, and conscious energy into relationships, skills, or personal growth, we create a foundation that cannot easily be shaken. The ease with which something comes may seduce us, but it rarely leaves a mark on the depths of who we are. In contrast, the challenges, the struggles, and even the discomfort we encounter in pursuit of something meaningful leave a lasting imprint, shaping not only our actions, but our character and consciousness. This principle applies to all aspects of life: love, work, creativity, and self-understanding. In romantic connections, the excitement of effortless attraction can be intoxicating, yet it may fade if not rooted in mutual understanding and emotional labor. In our careers, quick success without preparation may bring temporary satisfaction, but it rarely sustains a sense of purpose or mastery. And in the journey of self-discovery, the insights that come instantly without reflection or inner work often dissolve as quickly as they appeared. Jung encourages us to embrace the slow, sometimes demanding path, not as a burden, but as an invitation to encounter life fully. By examining the rhythm of effort and reward, of loss and endurance, we begin to see a hidden pattern. Life rewards depth, not speed, substance, not superficial charm, intentionality, not chance. When we recognize this, we can shift our perspective on disappointment, failure, or fleeting joy. Instead of lamenting what slips away, we can focus on cultivating what truly endures. This shift in consciousness aligns us with a more profound understanding of ourselves and the world, a wisdom that reaches beyond immediate gratification into the eternal cadence of growth, learning, and meaningful experience. In today's video, we will explore this Jungian insight in depth. We will uncover how what comes effortlessly often leaves without impact, and why the things that demand our time, energy, and attention create lasting fulfillment. We will reflect on personal experiences, relationships, and the subtle lessons hidden in life's ebbs and flows. Through this journey, we aim to cultivate not only understanding, but also a quiet, resilient wisdom that transforms the way we approach our lives, our choices, and our hearts. So if you have ever felt the sting of something beautiful fading too quickly, or the emptiness of success that came without struggle, know that you are not alone. Jung's words offer guidance. The true treasures of life, the ones that shape us and stay with us, are never effortless. They require presence, courage, and conscious engagement. Let us embark together on this exploration of depth, patience, and the enduring rhythm of life, discovering why what comes easily leaves easily, and how we can cultivate what lasts. 1. The nature of effortless gains. When we pause to examine our lives, we often notice a curious pattern. The things that arrive without effort, the friendships that seem instantaneous, the opportunities that fall into our laps, the fleeting successes that make us glow for a day or two, rarely endure. Carl Jung recognized this as more than coincidence. It is a reflection of the natural order of the psyche and the subtle laws of life itself. What comes easily also leaves easily, he said, reminding us that ease is a poor measure of depth. Just as a river cannot carve a canyon without persistent flow, our inner world cannot retain what has not been earned through consistent engagement and conscious effort. Consider a personal example, a friendship that blossoms immediately, full of laughter and easy connection. It feels magical at first, as if fate itself has aligned two hearts. Yet, over time, the lack of effort invested, of genuine understanding, conflict resolution, and emotional labor becomes apparent. When life shifts, when schedules change or misunderstandings arise, the bond may dissolve quickly, leaving behind a sense of loss and bewilderment. Jung would suggest that this is the natural consequence of the bond lacking roots. Ease does not cultivate resilience. The same principle applies to accomplishments. In school, some may excel effortlessly, seeming to grasp concepts that others labor over for months. Yet as life progresses, those early successes may fade if they were not accompanied by disciplined practice, curiosity, and reflection. In contrast, the student who struggled, who grappled with the material and persisted despite frustration, develops not only knowledge but also confidence, endurance, and an inner sense of mastery. The easy gain vanishes, the earned gain remains. This distinction is subtle, yet profoundly important. It is not about avoiding pleasure or rewarding effort for its own sake. It is about the deep alignment between effort and lasting impact. Jung's insight also reaches into the realm of the emotional and spiritual. Love, for example, can initially seem effortless. Two people meet and feel an immediate connection. The heart races, the mind sings, and life feels illuminated. Yet if that connection is never nurtured with attention, empathy, and honest communication, it may disappear just as swiftly as it appeared. The initial thrill was real, but it was superficial, a reflection of chemistry rather than cultivated depth. By contrast, relationships that endure often require patience, forgiveness, and understanding that grows gradually over time. The labor involved is not a burden. It is a sacred act of creation, weaving two lives together in a way that becomes resilient to the inevitable challenges of existence. In the professional sphere, the pattern repeats. Careers that rise suddenly, propelled by luck, connections, or circumstance, can falter when they are not supported by skill, preparation, and sustained effort. A fleeting victory, though satisfying, is often a poor foundation for long-term fulfillment. Jung's philosophy gently warns us against the allure of shortcuts, reminding us that true achievement carries a mark of the labor invested in it. The effort itself becomes part of the reward, shaping character, confidence, and understanding along the way. There is also a psychological truth in Jung's observation. The human psyche values what is earned. When we acquire something easily, it bypasses the parts of ourselves that hunger for meaning and engagement. We may feel momentarily elated, yet the satisfaction is shallow because it does not stimulate the growth of the inner self. Conversely, when we strive, struggle, and confront challenges, we integrate those experiences into the very fabric of our being. The process itself, the learning, reflection, and persistence, is as important as the outcome. Jung would argue that life's most profound lessons are rarely comfortable, and the rewards that endure are inseparable from the effort required to attain them. In reflecting on this principle, we also recognize a subtle invitation to embrace life's slower, more deliberate path. The easy and fleeting is not inherently bad, nor is it something to regret. It is a mirror showing us where our attention, care, and persistence may be needed. When we notice the impermanence of what comes easily, we are prompted to invest more fully in the things that matter. We learn to cultivate depth, patience, and resilience, qualities that allow us to withstand loss, adapt to change, and appreciate what lasts. Jung's wisdom encourages us to reframe our understanding of life's rhythm. What comes with little effort is often beautiful, but transient. What requires attention, care, and deliberate action is often enduring. The distinction is not about hardship for its own sake, but about alignment with the deeper currents of our psyche. When we honor this rhythm, we begin to see that life itself is structured to reward depth, authenticity, and conscious engagement. We are reminded that every challenge, every moment of focused attention, every act of care is a seed planted in the fertile soil of the self, destined to grow into something lasting and meaningful. As we move further in this exploration, we will examine how Jung's insight applies to the subtleties of emotional attachment, creative endeavor, and spiritual growth. We will consider how embracing effort does not diminish joy, but enhances it, creating experiences that endure long after the fleeting excitement of ease has faded. In the coming sections, we will uncover practical reflections, illustrative stories, and philosophical depth, illuminating the profound truth that life's treasures are rarely effortless, yet their enduring value is worth every ounce of care and attention. 2. Effort and emotional depth in relationships. One of the most poignant arenas where Carl Jung's insight, what comes easily also leaves easily, reveals itself is in human relationships. It is often in matters of the heart that the contrast between fleeting ease and enduring depth becomes most apparent. We are drawn to connections that feel immediate and effortless, captivated by the thrill of instant chemistry or the comfort of shared humor. Yet, as many of us have experienced, the relationships that demand nothing of us often vanish without warning, leaving a sense of incompleteness and longing. Jung observed that the psyche craves depth, and only those bonds that are nurtured and cultivated truly endure. Consider the dynamics of early romantic attraction. When two people meet and are instantly captivated by one another, it can feel as though the universe itself has conspired to bring them together. Every glance, every word seems imbued with significance. The experience is intoxicating, and for a while, it may seem effortless. But the human heart and mind are complex landscapes. They require understanding, patience, empathy, and sometimes the courage to face conflict or discomfort. Without this inner labor, the initial spark is like a candle flickering in the wind. It shines brightly for a moment, but cannot withstand the natural fluctuations of life. Jung's wisdom gently reminds us that the fleeting intensity of effortless attraction is only the surface of what is possible. Enduring love demands engagement with the deeper currents of both our own psyche and that of another. The principle also applies to friendships. A friendship that forms easily can bring joy and comfort in the short term. Shared laughter, common interests, and effortless camaraderie create a sense of connection that feels satisfying. Yet, when life introduces challenges, disagreements, distance, or personal struggles, these friendships can dissipate if they were never grounded in deeper understanding and emotional labor. Jung teaches that meaningful bonds are forged through consistent attention, empathy, and shared experience. The labor of truly knowing another person, the act of listening without judgment, supporting without expectation, and engaging honestly with their inner world is what allows a friendship to endure. What comes easily may delight us momentarily, but what is cultivated through care creates roots strong enough to weather the storms of life. Jung's insight also extends to familial relationships. Family bonds, though seemingly permanent by circumstance, can be fragile if they are taken for granted. Effortless familiarity may mask unresolved tensions or unacknowledged differences. True familial harmony arises not from obligation alone, but from conscious effort, recognizing and respecting individuality, practicing forgiveness, and actively participating in one another's growth. The relationships that survive generations are those tended to with care, patience, and intentionality. Jung's words remind us that emotional depth is inseparable from conscious investment, and that permanence is rarely achieved without sustained effort. Even within ourselves, this principle holds true. Emotional maturity and self-understanding do not arrive without introspection, struggle, and the willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. Many seek instant happiness or effortless comfort, but these fleeting states rarely foster lasting fulfillment. Jung encouraged individuals to engage deeply with the unconscious, to wrestle with shadow aspects of the self, and to embrace the challenges inherent in personal growth. The effort invested in understanding and integrating these aspects of the psyche leads to resilience, self-knowledge, and the ability to form relationships that are not merely superficial, but profoundly sustaining. What comes without effort may excite, but only what is consciously cultivated remains. In practical terms, embracing effort in relationships means showing up consistently, even when it feels inconvenient or tiring. It means listening when we would rather speak, empathizing when we would rather judge, and extending patience when frustration tempts us to withdraw. Jung's philosophy reframes these acts not as burdens, but as sacred gestures that strengthen the bonds we value most. By approaching relationships with intention, we create experiences that are durable, fulfilling, and capable of supporting us through life's inevitable fluctuations. This understanding also offers solace when connections fade despite our best intentions. If a bond leaves us unexpectedly, Jung's perspective helps us recognize that its impermanence may not signify failure. Rather, it reflects the natural law that what has not been deeply cultivated, emotionally, psychologically, or spiritually, is unlikely to endure. Life, in this sense, is not punishing but instructive, offering insight into where deeper attention and care are required. Each fleeting connection teaches us about our values, needs, and capacities for intimacy, guiding us toward relationships capable of lasting depth. Ultimately, Jung's wisdom challenges us to reconsider the allure of ease. In a world that often celebrates speed, instant gratification, and effortless success, he invites us to honor the slower, more deliberate path. Emotional depth is not an accidental byproduct of circumstances, but a creation born from conscious effort. Love, friendship, and family bonds that survive the tests of time are those that have been actively nurtured, shaped by understanding, patience, and shared experience. They remind us that the true treasures of human connection are not found in what comes easily, but in what we are willing to invest ourselves fully to sustain. As we reflect on these insights, we begin to see the subtle rhythm of life. Fleeting ease is beautiful but transient. Sustained effort is challenging but transformative. Jung's observation becomes a guiding principle, urging us to embrace intentionality in our emotional lives. By investing in depth rather than chasing effortless pleasure, we cultivate relationships that are resilient, meaningful, and capable of nourishing the soul. In the sections to come, we will explore how this same principle applies to creativity, professional pursuits, and the broader spiritual journey, revealing the universal truth that enduring value arises from engagement, care, and conscious effort. 3. Effort and the art of mastery. Beyond relationships, Carl Jung's insight, what comes easily also leaves easily, applies profoundly to creativity, learning, and personal mastery. In every field of human endeavor, there is a seductive allure in rapid success. A painting that seems effortless, a musical composition that flows naturally, a solution that appears suddenly, All of these can captivate us and those around us. Yet, much like fleeting friendships or instant accomplishments, what comes without sustained effort rarely endures, nor does it cultivate the depth of skill or understanding that true mastery requires. Jung reminds us that the human psyche grows in proportion to the effort invested. Surface-level achievement may glitter, but it rarely nourishes the soul or leaves a lasting mark. Consider the artist who discovers an innate talent. Early works may feel natural, even inspired, and applause comes quickly. The initial joy is intoxicating, yet over time, it may become apparent that effortless skill alone is insufficient. Without dedication, experimentation, and the willingness to grapple with frustration and failure, the talent risks stagnation or fading altogether. Jung's principle encourages the artist to embrace the slow, sometimes arduous path of refining their craft. Each hour spent sketching, revising, or experimenting is not wasted labor. It is the soil in which enduring creativity takes root. What comes easily may bring temporary satisfaction, but what is nurtured through persistent effort develops resilience, depth, and originality. The same pattern emerges in learning. A student may grasp certain concepts quickly, gaining praise and confidence, yet knowledge acquired without challenge is often shallow. When faced with more complex ideas, unexpected problems, or real-world applications, this superficial understanding may crumble. By contrast, the student who wrestles with difficult material, who practices diligently, and who reflects on mistakes, builds not only knowledge, but also the capacity for critical thinking and adaptation. Jung would describe this as the integration of experience into the psyche. The act of effort transforms information into wisdom. The value of learning is not simply in the outcome, but in the transformative process itself. Even in professional mastery, the principle holds true. In careers across science, business, or the arts, the achievements that arrive with minimal effort often lack staying power. They may impress briefly, yet without continual learning, adaptation, and the investment of time and focus, they rarely endure. In contrast, those who cultivate skill with patience and consistency create legacies that extend far beyond immediate recognition. Jung's philosophy highlights the intimate connection between effort and identity. The work we invest shapes not only our capabilities, but also our character. Mastery is not only technical skill, it is the reflection of persistent engagement, discipline, and inner growth. Creativity itself demonstrates this principle in subtle ways. Ideas may appear suddenly in a flash of inspiration, but without the discipline to develop, refine, and bring them to fruition, they often fade like mist in the morning sun. Jung saw the creative process as deeply intertwined with the unconscious, suggesting that lasting innovation requires both inspiration and conscious cultivation. The effortless spark ignites possibility, but the sustained labor of attention, revision, and integration transforms a fleeting idea into something that endures. This dynamic mirrors life itself. Transient moments illuminate the path, yet what stays is the product of conscious, patient engagement. Moreover, Jung's insight emphasizes the role of struggle in shaping the human psyche. Effort is not merely a practical necessity, it is a transformative force. When we confront challenges, we are invited to explore our limitations, adapt, and discover strengths previously hidden. Creativity and mastery flourish not despite difficulty, but because of it. Each obstacle navigated, each problem solved, each failure faced with reflection contributes to the depth and resilience of the self. What comes without effort may entertain or impress, but it rarely transforms. What requires struggle shapes both skill and soul. In modern life, there is often pressure to achieve rapidly, to display effortless brilliance, and to accumulate success without visible labor. Social media amplifies this illusion, presenting curated snapshots of talent, wealth, and happiness. Jung's words remind us to look beneath appearances, to value the process over immediate results. The hidden hours of practice, the quiet reflection, and the patient persistence are the true determinants of lasting impact. What is easy may captivate attention briefly, but what is cultivated with care endures in both external achievement and inner satisfaction. This perspective also shifts how we approach setbacks and failure. When progress feels slow or effort seems unrewarded, Jung's insight reassures us that this labor is not wasted. The very act of engaging deeply, of confronting difficulties, exploring unknowns, and committing to consistent practice builds resilience and integration in the psyche. The value of effort is not measured only in immediate results, but in the enduring transformation it produces. What comes easily may vanish, but what is nurtured with persistence becomes part of who we are. As we reflect on creativity, learning, and mastery, a clear pattern emerges. Ease is ephemeral, depth is earned. Jung's wisdom challenges us to embrace the slow, deliberate path, recognizing that the effort invested in honing skill, cultivating insight, and integrating experience is what gives life its enduring value. Inspiration alone is fleeting. Mastery requires patience. Knowledge alone is insufficient. Understanding demands struggle. And fleeting success, no matter how dazzling, pales in comparison to the fulfillment and growth achieved through sustained, conscious effort. In the next section, we will explore how this principle extends beyond personal achievement into the spiritual dimension, showing how effort and intention shape our inner growth and connection to the greater mysteries of life. We will examine why the soul's deepest treasures cannot be obtained without engagement and reflection, revealing the profound harmony between effort and enduring meaning. 4. Effort and spiritual depth. Carl Jung's insight, "What comes easily also leaves easily," resonates deeply in the realm of spiritual growth and inner transformation. The human spirit often yearns for sudden enlightenment, effortless insight, or instantaneous peace. We may be drawn to quick meditative techniques, viral self-help practices, or spiritual shortcuts promising rapid awakening. And yet, as Jung reminds us, the deepest treasures of the soul are rarely obtained without deliberate effort, introspection, and conscious engagement with our own inner world. What comes effortlessly may feel inspiring for a moment, but without intentional cultivation, it cannot sustain a lasting transformation. Consider the inner work of self-awareness, which Jung regarded as central to personal growth. To understand oneself, to confront hidden fears, unconscious patterns, and unresolved conflicts, requires patience, courage, and honest reflection. The psyche does not reveal its depths instantly. It responds to consistent, attentive engagement. Moments of insight may appear like sparks of illumination, brief and exhilarating, yet if they are not integrated through deliberate contemplation and conscious choice, they fade, leaving no lasting mark. The journey of inner transformation is gradual, often challenging, yet its rewards are profound. Self-knowledge, emotional resilience, and a deeper connection to life's meaning. Jung introduced the concept of individuation, the process by which a person becomes fully themselves, integrating the conscious and unconscious aspects of the psyche. Individuation cannot be rushed or bypassed. It is cultivated through reflection, experience, and effortful engagement with the complexities of the self. The fleeting pleasures of comfort, distraction, or avoidance may provide temporary relief, but they do not lead to genuine integration. Spiritual depth arises when we confront our shadows, the parts of ourselves we hide or deny, and learn to embrace them with compassion and awareness. This is a labor of the soul, demanding patience and persistence, yet it is precisely this labor that creates lasting transformation. The human need for meaning underscores why effort is indispensable in spiritual life. Life often presents experiences that are confusing, painful, or even seemingly unfair. Jung suggested that such experiences are not random. They are invitations to growth, opportunities for the psyche to expand and evolve. The easy path, avoiding discomfort, seeking immediate gratification, or chasing fleeting pleasure, may appear tempting, yet it rarely facilitates spiritual depth. True understanding emerges from engagement with life's complexities, from reflection on suffering, and from conscious effort to align with inner values and purpose. What comes without effort may delight the senses, but what is cultivated through persistent self-inquiry endures and transforms. Jung also emphasized the role of symbols, dreams, and the unconscious in spiritual development. Insights from these realms often arrive unexpectedly, as fleeting impressions, visions, or intuitions. Yet these spontaneous glimpses of meaning require careful attention and interpretation to become part of our conscious understanding. The effortless experience alone is not enough. It must be integrated through reflection, journaling, dialogue, or meditation. In this way, Jung's insight applies directly. The ephemeral spark of unconscious wisdom is only transformative when consciously nurtured, connected, and embodied. Even in practices such as meditation, prayer, or ritual, the principle holds. It is easy to sit quietly for a few moments or recite familiar words without deep presence. These superficial practices may offer fleeting calm, yet they seldom produce lasting insight. Sustained attention, mindful repetition, and genuine engagement with intention are what allow spiritual practice to reshape the mind, heart, and soul. Jung's perspective reminds us that the spiritual life, like all meaningful endeavors, flourishes through effort, patience, and conscious participation. What comes easily may comfort us briefly, but what is cultivated with dedication creates enduring inner peace and clarity. Jung's teachings also highlight the interconnectedness of effort and meaning. When we actively engage in our inner work, we cultivate a sense of purpose that transcends circumstance. The small, deliberate actions, facing fears, reflecting on dreams, practicing self-compassion, accumulate over time, producing profound shifts in consciousness. In contrast, the effortless experiences of superficial joy or temporary relief do not anchor the soul. Jung's insight is both a caution and a guide. The path to spiritual fulfillment is not a shortcut, but a deliberate journey requiring awareness, courage, and patience. This principle can offer solace when the journey feels slow or challenging. Spiritual growth is often imperceptible day by day, like the quiet strengthening of roots beneath the soil. Jung's wisdom reassures us that the effort we invest, though sometimes unseen, is what allows the soul to flourish. The fleeting moments of insight or happiness may delight us, but it is the ongoing, mindful engagement with our inner world that produces lasting transformation. In embracing this labor, we align ourselves with life's natural rhythm, acknowledging that depth and permanence are born of attention, presence, and conscious effort. Ultimately, Jung's perspective transforms the way we understand both ease and struggle. What arrives effortlessly, whether insight, pleasure, or comfort, can inspire, but it is rarely enduring. The soul's deepest treasures, the capacity for self-knowledge, resilience, empathy, and inner peace, emerge only through intentional effort. Spiritual growth, like emotional depth or creative mastery, is earned through sustained reflection, conscious action, and courageous engagement with life's challenges. By embracing effort as a sacred part of the journey, we cultivate a spiritual life that endures, nourishes, and transforms from within. In the next section, we will explore how Jung's principle extends to personal transformation in everyday life, showing how consistent effort, conscious choices, and deliberate reflection shape our character, habits, and destiny. We will uncover practical ways to recognize fleeting ease and redirect energy toward experiences that endure, deepening both our understanding and our lived experience of life. 5. Applying Jung's wisdom in daily life. Carl Jung's insight, "What comes easily also leaves easily," is not just a philosophical observation. It is a guiding principle for how we live each day. Life constantly presents choices, challenges, and opportunities, and understanding the difference between fleeting ease and enduring value can transform the way we approach everything, from personal habits to relationships, work, and self-care. Jung reminds us that conscious effort, not convenience or instant gratification, is the path to lasting fulfillment. Consider the habits that shape our lives. It is tempting to indulge in routines that require little effort, scrolling mindlessly through social media, taking shortcuts in work, or avoiding difficult conversations. These behaviors may provide immediate comfort, but they rarely contribute to long-term growth or happiness. In contrast, habits cultivated intentionally, daily reflection, focused practice, meaningful communication, and consistent self-discipline may feel demanding at first, yet they anchor us in a life of purpose and resilience. Jung's wisdom encourages us to see effort not as a burden, but as a sacred investment in our future selves. Personal transformation also follows this pattern. Many seek quick fixes for dissatisfaction or unhappiness, a change of job, a new relationship, or external validation. These solutions may temporarily elevate our mood, but they rarely produce lasting inner change. Jung understood that the true work of transformation occurs within, through conscious engagement with our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. By observing patterns, confronting fears, and actively choosing growth, we gradually cultivate qualities that endure. What comes easily may excite us, but what we labor to build becomes an intrinsic part of who we are. Time management offers another practical lens. It is easy to spend our days reacting to external demands, attending to distractions, or chasing short-term pleasures. Yet life's most meaningful achievements, whether creative, relational, or spiritual, require the deliberate allocation of time and energy. Jung's perspective invites us to prioritize tasks and activities that demand presence and intention. The hours we invest in study, practice, self-reflection, or relationship building are not wasted. They are the foundation upon which lasting success and fulfillment are constructed. What arrives without effort may be enjoyable in the moment, but it rarely contributes to the architecture of a meaningful life. Relationships in daily life also benefit from Jung's insight. In family, friendship, and romance, the tendency to seek ease, avoiding conflict, prioritizing convenience, or relying solely on initial attraction can leave bonds fragile and ephemeral. By contrast, relationships nurtured through consistent attention, honest communication, and empathy develop depth and resilience. Effortful engagement in relationships, listening when it is difficult, forgiving when it is painful, giving when we would rather receive, is what transforms connection into enduring intimacy. Jung reminds us that true bonds require cultivation. They are not accidental, but the product of conscious care. Jung's principle is equally relevant in professional and creative pursuits. Tasks that are easy or quick may offer immediate satisfaction, yet the deeper rewards come from sustained effort and disciplined practice. Learning a skill, completing a project, or achieving mastery is rarely effortless. The labor invested, the failures endured, and the persistence applied shape not only the outcome, but also the individual's capacity, confidence, and character. What arrives without effort is often fleeting. What is nurtured with attention lasts. Recognizing this distinction encourages us to embrace challenges rather than avoid them, seeing them as opportunities to grow rather than obstacles to comfort. In the modern world, distractions are everywhere, and the temptation to prioritize ease over depth is constant. Jung's insight offers a compass. It reminds us to notice when our energy is being spent on superficial gains or fleeting pleasures, and to redirect our attention toward actions that yield lasting value. This conscious redirection is itself a form of effort, requiring self-awareness, reflection, and sometimes courage. Over time, these deliberate choices accumulate, creating a life that is resilient, purposeful, and deeply satisfying. Even our inner dialogue benefits from this principle. When we judge ourselves harshly for slow progress or struggle, we may feel frustration or inadequacy. Jung encourages a gentler perspective. Effort is meaningful in itself, and the process of conscious engagement shapes the self even before external results appear. By embracing patience and valuing consistent effort, we cultivate self-respect and resilience, recognizing that the journey itself is as significant as any destination. What is easy may leave us unsatisfied, but the work we invest builds an enduring foundation within. Finally, applying Jung's wisdom daily fosters gratitude and awareness. We begin to see the transient nature of effortless gains, appreciating them for their beauty without overvaluing them. Simultaneously, we recognize the effortful moments, the challenges, the long hours, the acts of care and attention, as the true gifts of life. What we cultivate through conscious effort endures, enriching not only ourselves, but also those around us. Jung's teaching thus transforms ordinary living into a practice of depth, intentionality, and meaning. As we integrate this principle into daily life, we realize that every small act of effort, whether nurturing a relationship, practicing a craft, reflecting on our thoughts, or choosing presence over distraction, becomes a seed for enduring fulfillment. Life may offer fleeting ease, but the treasures that shape our character, deepen our relationships, and cultivate our inner world arise from conscious engagement and sustained care. Jung's wisdom guides us to focus not on what is effortless and temporary, but on what requires dedication and attention, because it is in this effort that life's deepest rewards are found. In the next section, we will explore the role of resilience and patience, showing how Jung's principle teaches us to withstand life's challenges and transform struggle into enduring growth. We will uncover the subtle ways in which effortful engagement with difficulty strengthens both character and soul. 6. Effort, resilience, and the lessons of struggle. Carl Jung's observation, "What comes easily also leaves easily," carries profound implications for how we approach life's inevitable challenges. Struggle, discomfort, and adversity are often viewed as obstacles to be avoided, yet Jung saw them as essential catalysts for growth. Effortful engagement with life's difficulties cultivates resilience, deepens understanding, and allows us to internalize lessons that effortless experiences rarely provide. In other words, what challenges us most becomes what shapes us most. Consider the natural rhythms of life. We all encounter periods of loss, disappointment, or uncertainty. A career setback, a failed relationship, or an unexpected health issue can leave us feeling vulnerable or powerless. The initial reaction may be to seek the easiest escape: denial, distraction, or avoidance. These responses may provide temporary relief, but they do not strengthen the psyche. Jung emphasizes that resilience emerges not from evading hardship, but from confronting it consciously, learning from it, and integrating its lessons into the self. What comes easily, comfort, avoidance, or quick fixes, leaves little imprint. What is faced with effort and presence leaves a lasting mark. In emotional life, Jung's principle is strikingly relevant. Painful experiences, grief, heartbreak, or betrayal, are often the teachers of wisdom. The human instinct is to resist them, to return to the familiar ease of security and distraction. Yet the most enduring growth comes when we engage fully, reflect deeply, and allow ourselves to experience, process, and understand the emotions involved. This effort does not erase suffering, but it transforms it. Over time, what was once painful becomes a source of empathy, insight, and strength. Effort turns challenge into a reservoir of resilience. Resilience is further reinforced through patience. Jung understood that the psyche operates on its own timeline. Transformation, healing, and integration cannot be rushed. What arrives too quickly, whether a solution, a sense of peace, or superficial understanding, often departs just as swiftly. Real growth, however, unfolds gradually, requiring ongoing attention, persistence, and care. This principle invites us to cultivate patience, trusting that the sustained effort we invest in facing difficulty will yield deeper understanding and enduring strength. In a world that glorifies speed and instant results, Jung's insight reminds us that patience is not passive waiting, but active engagement over time. The lessons of struggle are also evident in creativity and personal development. Artists, writers, and innovators often describe periods of intense challenge, creative blocks, self-doubt, or repeated failure as formative experiences. Jung would argue that these struggles are not random. They are necessary encounters with the unconscious, forcing reflection, adaptation, and deeper insight. The labor of persistence transforms both the work and the individual, embedding growth and depth into every effort. What emerges from ease alone may be impressive momentarily, but only what is honed through challenge endures, revealing both skill and character. Jung's perspective also applies to the development of moral and ethical resilience. Life presents choices that test our integrity, compassion, and courage. The path of least resistance, yielding to temptation, ignoring injustice, or avoiding responsibility, may feel easier in the short term. Yet Jung's insight reminds us that moral and psychological depth are forged through the effort of choosing wisely, even when it is difficult. It is through repeated acts of conscious, principled decision-making that character solidifies, and the psyche develops a durable sense of strength and alignment with values. What is easy may bring temporary relief or reward, but what is earned through conscious effort remains. Moreover, Jung highlights the transformative power of reflection during adversity. Life's challenges often provoke introspection. Who am I? What do I value? How do I respond under pressure? This conscious examination, though uncomfortable at times, is the labor through which resilience is cultivated. Without it, hardship leaves only scars. With it, it becomes a teacher, a guide, and a catalyst for enduring growth. Jung's wisdom frames struggle not as punishment, but as an opportunity, a chance to engage deeply with life, integrate lessons into the self, and emerge stronger, wiser, and more fully human. In practical terms, this principle invites us to reframe our relationship with challenge. Rather than resisting difficulty, we can approach it as a field for cultivation, recognizing that effort in the face of adversity produces lasting value. Small acts, choosing honesty when dishonesty is easier, persevering through a demanding task, facing uncomfortable truths about oneself, accumulate over time, reinforcing resilience and deepening self-understanding. Jung's insight encourages us to embrace the difficult path, not reluctantly, but as an essential part of growth and self-realization. Finally, the interplay of effort, struggle, and resilience illuminates why fleeting ease is ultimately unsatisfying. Experiences that come without challenge may provide temporary comfort, but they rarely teach, transform, or anchor us. Conversely, the deliberate engagement with difficulty, though often uncomfortable, produces outcomes that endure and contribute to a rich, meaningful life. Jung's observation is a reminder that effort is not an obstacle to happiness or fulfillment. It is the conduit through which life's most lasting treasures are realized. As we reflect on resilience and struggle, we see a universal rhythm. Ease is ephemeral, effort produces endurance. Life rewards conscious engagement, patience, and persistence. What is confronted with courage and care becomes a source of strength, insight, and lasting value. In the next section, we will explore the role of mindful presence and attention, examining how deliberate awareness in daily life can deepen experience, reinforce effort, and cultivate enduring meaning in both small moments and significant life events. 7. Mindful presence and the power of attention. Carl Jung's observation, "What comes easily also leaves easily," finds profound relevance in the practice of mindful presence and conscious attention. In our fast-paced modern world, it is easy to drift through life, reacting automatically, distracted by screens, noise, or fleeting pleasures. Moments of connection, clarity, or insight may appear spontaneously, but without deliberate attention, they pass unnoticed and quickly vanish. Jung's insight reminds us that depth, understanding, and lasting fulfillment are not found in what is effortless, but in what is consciously engaged and cultivated with presence. Mindfulness is the art of attending fully to the present moment without judgment or distraction. At first, this may seem simple, breathing, observing, or listening, but Jung emphasizes that true presence is an effortful engagement with life. The mind resists stillness and distraction, tempts constantly. It requires patience, persistence, and conscious effort to maintain awareness and to witness life as it unfolds. This effort is not burdensome. It is the conduit through which fleeting experiences are transformed into lasting understanding. What comes without attention may delight briefly, but what is observed and integrated endures in memory, insight, and meaning. Consider a simple moment of connection, a conversation with a friend or loved one. When we listen only partially, distracted by thought or phone, the interaction may feel pleasant, yet it often leaves little impression. The words are heard, but the emotional resonance is lost. In contrast, when we approach the conversation with mindful presence, listening attentively, responding thoughtfully, and observing subtleties in emotion and tone, the experience becomes rich, layered, and enduring. Jung's wisdom highlights that effortful attention transforms ordinary interactions into meaningful connections. Presence itself is a labor, and through it, depth is cultivated. This principle also applies to creative and professional endeavors. Whether writing, painting, problem-solving, or learning, it is easy to skim the surface, completing tasks without deep engagement. What is produced may satisfy momentarily, but without focused attention, it lacks authenticity and lasting impact. Jung understood that sustained effort and conscious engagement allows the unconscious mind to contribute fully, creating work that resonates beyond the fleeting moment. Effortful attention integrates insight, skill, and intention, transforming the ephemeral spark of inspiration into a creation that endures in both substance and meaning. Even in self-reflection, mindful presence amplifies the value of effort. Many seek self-understanding in fleeting bursts, journaling briefly, reflecting casually, or engaging in shallow introspection. These moments may provide temporary clarity, but they often leave little lasting impact on behavior or awareness. Jung encourages deeper engagement, regular, deliberate reflection, attentive observation of thoughts and emotions, and conscious effort to integrate insights into life. The labor of presence transforms fleeting realizations into enduring wisdom, shaping not only understanding but the lived experience of each day. Jung's insight also speaks to the cultivation of gratitude and appreciation. Moments of beauty, sunsets, music, or acts of kindness are easily overlooked when our attention wanders. What comes easily like a passing sensation of pleasure may delight for an instant, but the lasting richness arises when we consciously notice, savor, and integrate the experience. Mindful attention, though effortful, transforms ordinary moments into treasures that remain in memory and heart. Through effortful presence, the ephemeral becomes enduring, and life's beauty is fully realized. In relationships, attention functions as a bridge between superficial connection and meaningful intimacy. People can occupy the same space without truly engaging. By consciously investing attention, listening fully, observing subtle cues, and responding thoughtfully, we deepen bonds, cultivating connections that endure. Effort and presence is not a burden, it is a gift. Jung's principle reminds us that depth is created through conscious engagement, and that what we nurture with attention becomes lasting in both memory and effect. Furthermore, mindful presence enhances resilience. Life is unpredictable, and fleeting moments of joy or success often pass quickly. By grounding ourselves in the present and attending fully to what is unfolding, we develop the capacity to respond to challenges with clarity and composure. Jung's wisdom teaches that enduring growth arises not from avoiding difficulty or seeking effortless ease, but from actively engaging with the present, integrating experiences, and learning from them. Presence itself is a form of effort, and through it, the fleeting is transformed into the enduring. Finally, Jung's observation guides us toward intentional living. To cultivate a life of depth, we must recognize that what comes easily, comfort, distraction, or superficial pleasure, is often temporary. By intentionally directing attention toward what matters, investing effort in engagement, and maintaining presence even when it is difficult, we create experiences, relationships, and insights that endure. What is effortless may fade, but what is attended to with mindful effort becomes a foundation for lasting meaning. As we conclude this exploration of presence, we see a universal pattern emerging. Fleeting experiences require attention to become lasting, and effort is the medium through which depth is created. Jung's insight is not merely theoretical, it is practical, guiding us to invest consciously in the moments, tasks, relationships, and inner work that shape a meaningful life. In the next section, we will bring together all these threads: effort, resilience, presence, and conscious engagement, offering a reflective conclusion that illuminates how Jung's wisdom can guide us toward a life of enduring fulfillment and profound depth. 8. Embracing effort as the path to enduring fulfillment. As we reach the final reflection on Carl Jung's insight, what comes easily also leaves easily, we begin to see a consistent pattern emerge across every dimension of life. Relationships, creativity, personal growth, spiritual depth, resilience, and mindful presence all reveal the same essential truth. Lasting value is rarely the product of ease. What arrives without effort may delight for a moment, yet it seldom endures. In contrast, what is cultivated with intention, patience, and conscious engagement forms the foundation of enduring fulfillment. Jung's wisdom offers a gentle but profound guide for navigating life with depth, authenticity, and purpose. Throughout this exploration, we have seen that effortless gains, instant friendships, fleeting successes, brief joys can enchant us, but they rarely sustain. In relationships, bonds formed without care may dissolve under strain. In creativity and learning, skill acquired without labor often fades. In spiritual practice, fleeting moments of insight or peace vanish without integration. In personal transformation, superficial solutions offer temporary relief but fail to produce lasting change. Jung's principle is a reminder that life's most meaningful treasures, emotional depth, mastery, resilience, and inner peace, emerge from sustained, conscious effort. Yet embracing effort does not mean rejecting ease or denying joy. The fleeting moments of delight, inspiration, or connection are valuable. They light the path and reveal what we desire most. The challenge, Jung suggests, is to transform these ephemeral experiences into enduring treasures. This transformation requires attention, reflection, and persistence. What arrives easily can be a spark, but the flame of lasting value is kindled through deliberate cultivation. The psyche, relationships, and creative endeavors all require this ongoing engagement to flourish. Patience, as we have seen, is essential. Jung's insight teaches us that the process of growth, whether emotional, intellectual, or spiritual, cannot be rushed. Deep understanding, skill, and resilience are cultivated over time through consistent effort. The seemingly small, repetitive acts, the daily practice, the quiet reflection, the patient listening, the deliberate choice to engage rather than avoid, accumulate into a life of profound depth. Jung frames effort not as burden, but as sacred work, the medium through which transient experiences are transformed into lasting meaning. Moreover, this principle calls for a reorientation of values. In a culture that often glorifies speed, convenience, and immediate gratification, Jung reminds us to honor the slow, intentional path. To invest effort consciously is to cultivate discernment, to recognize what is fleeting and to nurture what endures. It is to understand that struggle, reflection, and sustained engagement are not obstacles to fulfillment, but the very mechanisms through which the deepest joys, insights, and connections are realized. In practical terms, this philosophy reshapes daily living. We begin to approach relationships with intention, creativity with patience, personal growth with dedication, and spiritual practice with presence. Each choice becomes an opportunity to transform fleeting experiences into lasting value. What is easy may pass, but what is tended to with care, through listening, practicing, reflecting, or engaging fully, becomes a durable foundation, anchoring the self and enriching the world around us. Jung's wisdom thus integrates seamlessly into everyday life, offering both philosophical depth and practical guidance. Perhaps most importantly, embracing effort fosters resilience and self-understanding. Life is unpredictable, and fleeting ease can never protect us from change, loss, or challenge. What endures, however, is cultivated through persistent engagement. By confronting difficulty with conscious effort, reflecting on our experiences, and committing to ongoing growth, we develop a psyche capable of withstanding adversity. Jung's insight is not merely about external achievements. It is about shaping the inner life to be deep, adaptive, and meaningful. Effort becomes a form of self-respect, a commitment to nurturing the aspects of life that matter most. Ultimately, Jung's observation is a call to presence, patience, and purposeful action. To live fully is to engage deeply, to invest attention where it matters, and to recognize that the rewards of life are inseparable from the effort required to cultivate them. Relationships flourish through care, creativity blossoms through labor, spiritual growth arises from conscious reflection, and resilience is forged through deliberate engagement with challenge. What comes easily may fade, but what is nurtured with attention, intention, and persistence becomes an enduring part of the self and the world. As we close this reflection, let us carry forward Jung's gentle reminder: cherish the sparks, but invest in the flame. Allow your relationships, creativity, learning, and inner life to be shaped through conscious effort, understanding that this labor is the source of enduring joy, wisdom, and fulfillment. What comes without effort may delight briefly, but what is cultivated with patience, reflection, and dedication remains, leaving a legacy within your heart and across the lives you touch. So as you step back into your life after this reflection, remember that each moment of attention, each deliberate act of care, and each effortful choice is a seed planted for what truly lasts. Jung's timeless insight invites us to embrace life not for the ease it may offer, but for the depth we are willing to create through conscious engagement. In this labor lies the beauty, meaning, and enduring fulfillment that make life profoundly worthwhile. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the wisdom of Carl Jung. Remember, what comes easily may delight for a moment, but it is through conscious effort, patience, and presence that life's most meaningful treasures endure. Embrace the challenges, nurture your relationships, cultivate your creativity, and engage deeply with each moment. These are the seeds of lasting fulfillment. If you found value in today's reflection, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Galactic Wisdom so you can continue exploring the profound insights that guide us toward a richer, more mindful life. Until next time, stay curious, stay present, and let your efforts shape the life you truly desire.